a shed update, and we'll start with Gene Simmons. This is actually the last kit that the antique booth had a 50% sale on here in town, and that was the last kit I needed, and he was actually $2 higher more than the other kits that I got. But now I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got the fourth one, makes the whole set, and hopefully one day I'll have the, which I prefer the longer box versions. Hopefully get a whole set of that. And there's actually a another Kiss set that's actually pre-painted, and they're like in a I want to say an oval shaped box. If I ever got them cheap, I'd like to have them too, just for having, you know, the having the long boxes, having the, I call it standard Polar Lights box, and then you know, the oval shaped boxes. But anyway, finally got Gene Simmons, which I got Gene Simmons in the long box, but I got Gene Simmons in the standard Polar Lights box. So we got the whole set, and that's the way we like to roll around here. Anyway, adding Gene Simmons to the art. This is brand new out, and of course I had to have it because number one, I have the mystery machine, which you get Fred, Daphne, and Scooby, but you got to buy the biplane to get Shaggy, Velma, and then they give you a Scooby, but Scooby's got a flight hat on, which I really don't really care. But anyway, they're the 1/20th scale, and 1/20th scale is roughly, oh, that's right, I moved it earlier. Come back over here. 1/20th scale is the basically my sample Tamaya Samurai figure here, which you know, it's actually a good scale. I know most people don't really care for these because they're, you know, it's geared to I call junior modelers, which are the kids that jump in the hobby. I think it's a great kit. I think it actually built up to a nice model. It's you know, I know it looks toy-like in appearance, but with a little bit of paint weathering, I mean, you can actually just you know, go to town on it and you know, make a unique different biplane, even if it's animated or anything. But anyway, bought this to basically get Velma, and basically bought the mystery machine to get Daphne. Of course, you know, I like the female kits of it, but anyway, I think it's a great kit. It's unique though. I wish they'd make a little more you know, the monsters that go with the Scooby-Doo, because I think that would make a unique model experience, having the biplane, Mr. Machine, the whole gang, and then the monsters of the series. But anyway, adding the Scooby-Doo biplane to the art. Hobby Store also had, this is Ultraman, and they do the Mecha Collection, which is basically like the Star Blazers, and they do, you know, Super Macross and all that other good stuff. But anyway, I kind of got late in the game because I really didn't know what they were, and I only get them when the Hobby Store gets them. I guess I could order them if I wanted to, but actually I started with number 5 because that's what the Hobby Store had, and I pick them up every time they get them. And I'll tell y'all something, and it's just by observation. The most popular kits at a Hobby Store are Gundam kits, just Gundam in general. I almost, just by watching and observing at the Hobby Store that I attend to, they basically sell out of them 2 to 1 than a science fiction kit, and or for example, say a you know, a military kit. I know you know, for example, a military kit. Of course, we could look upstairs. You know, we forget we have the upstairs here. It's actually crazy. I mean, he sells out almost like in 2 weeks time. They're absolutely gone. Of course, I do help out. I do buy my share of certain Gundam kits. But anyway, that's just something that just an observation, just to how big Gundam is here in the States, model wise. But anyway, I don't know what this is. What, the Ultra Guard Magmarizer? I have no idea what it is, but it's a Ultraman stuff. So, you know, we add Ultraman to the art. So adding that to the art. Up next, and I've been wanting this for a while, and I should have bought it a long time ago. This is called Box O Zombies, and you actually get 6 figures. And I really don't know the story. I really didn't pay attention to that because I wanted them because they're basically 1/32 scale. And you get your box of zombies, and it's actually 3 layers. And the sculpts on these are absolutely fantastic. If you look at that, And one thing about this, you do get 3 females and basically 3 males, which, you know, not a big, wish you got all females, and I really would have bought it when it first came out. But anyway, they marked these down, and I thought, man, these are actually absolutely very cool for zombie figures. And I'm trying to find the sculptor who did these, because these are just absolutely great. I think they're absolutely fantastic. But anyway, there's her. And I call her Granny, but, you know, you always got to have a Granny zombie. I just think the sculpt on it's just absolutely great. And I'm kind of going on a little zombie kick. Just been picking up zombies here and there, because I've been wanting to do a post-apocalyptic kind of diorama for a while. A little vignette with an antenna, and I haven't figured out how I want to do it. But anyway, really, I think they're great. And, you know, and these are basically kind of like a toy yet model. You know, it's kind of one of them cross you know, generations, where you got the actual model kit, you know, resin kit, and then a plastic kit. You know, this is kind of one of the in between. And I kind of classify it as a model, since basically you're getting a blank canvas and you can paint them however you want. But anyway, adding box of zombies to the art. Up next is I had to cut back on my books, because actually books will each add a house and home, just like models. And I kind of had to pick one, models or books, so I chose models. But I did keep some books, and I've been picking up books when I can. I picked this one up because, number one, I've never seen it. This is the complete book of plastic model kits, and prepared by the advisory board of the Aurora Plastic Corporation. First edition, 60 cents. That was highway robbery back then. But number one, this came out in, where did I see that at? Where did I see? Published in 1961, so original. And it's kind of basically a book of Aurora kits. There is some diagrams, a lot of history of it. There is some color photos. I always wanted that kit because, number one, what's the Starfighter kit in Star Trek? I thought that would be you could put a Star Trek name tag on there and have that pilot. That's just me thinking out loud. But anyway, it's just one that I think it's in good shape book. And I've been deciding. I've been trying to get like books like you know, the famous spaceship ones. There's some Star Trek ones. There's Chet Payne's up there in the armor section. I wanted to get this one because, number one, I've never seen it. It was cheap, and it also goes with the history of Aurora. And I've been trying to get history books of model kits. But anyway, we're adding the complete book of plastic model kits to the art. And up next, I wasn't planning on buying it, but price was just right, and I was like, man, I better buy it now or I'll never get it. This is basically the history of Revell kits by Thomas Graham. And I don't care for the actual price guide, because that's absolutely, you can throw that away, because model kits are like fine wines. They appreciate and value over time, and some are worth more than others, just you know, by a drop of a hat. But anyway, it's one of those, it's just a historical book, and full color. You know, and a lot of this is, of course, Brad would like to have one of those, like to have a cat in the hat model kit. I think that would look slick. Of course, you know, I'd like to have some kittens. I would like to, I like to have a kitten, one to have my assistant in plastic. But anyway, that's just me. I don't know, it's just a trip through memory lane here, and the history of, you know, kits and all that. I just thought it was a unique, a unique artifact to, ooh, what's that? Space Pursuit. So see, we need stuff like that. I got to remember to look for stuff like that. I think it's a absolutely unique book. Anyway, I like history of model kits, the artistry, everything that went into it. I just think it's a unique subject to have. Anyway, and the history of Revell, and there's a monogram one which I'm trying to get that. I'll try to get that sooner or later. But adding Revell to the art. And last but not least, we're adding by Thomas Graham, the Aurora model kits book. It's basically the history of Aurora, which is, I want to say, almost like a companion to that one. This one's first, and then we'll say this one came second. Then there's a DenCon one, which you don't know who DenCon is. They are the ones who did the monster scenes of the animal pit and the dungeon, they got a book, and I haven't got that one yet. Just never had the opportunity to really get it, and I kind of keep forgetting about it. But anyway, this is one of those. Just I'm not really interested in the price guide part of it, but it just shows you, you know, Aurora molds, Aurora classics. You know, people. Just the history of it, you know, of the company itself. It's just one of it's an actual just a great read, you know, the history of it. And I like, you know, again, like I've said before, history of model kits in general. So anyway, we're adding this one. There's a I think this is one of the, I want to say this is one of the first ones or the second edition. He's got like 2 or 3, and then there's a brand new one out that came out I want to say last year. And I'll try to get that so I can have the whole set to go with it. But anyway, adding the Aurora model kits by Thomas Graham to the art. But anyway, that's a quick update. I wanted to show all that before I started putting things up, because I had to got shed duty today, so I gotta, you know, make sure I put everything in its proper place. But anyway, we're adding Ultraman, we're adding Box of Zombies, and we're adding the Scooby-Doo biplane, and of course we are adding literature to the arc. So that's what I got going on today, so stay tuned for the next exciting episode.